Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2019 Lincoln Nautilus Select. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Lincoln Nautilus for two reasons. First of all, I don't know how to say it. I'll be honest, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but that was new for 2019. They switched from the MKX over to the Nautilus name. There's a couple other facelift things that happened along with that I'll talk about. But the other reason is the fact that I don't drive many modern Lincolns on the channel, and so I am trying to remedy that today. But before we get on to anything else, if you would like to submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me, have a video of your car made just like this one, you can submit it on my website, zackprato.com. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out. All I have to know is your rough location, so when I travel, I know where to go, as well as year, make, and model, and that's it. And you would get a video of your car just like the one you're watching now of this Nautilus. But let's get back to that 2-liter turbo under the hood. Well, you might recognize it from a lot of other Ford products. It's Ford's EcoBoost 2-liter, most iconically put into the Ford Focus ST, back when we used to get those. It makes 245 horsepower, which I honestly think is a really good amount. For a mid-size SUV like this, I think that's totally fine. However, you can also get a 2.7 liter turbo V6 from Ford that is shared with the new Ford Bronco, and that makes 335 horsepower. So you do have some options there. Now, like I said, paired to it is that 8-speed automatic. That's new for the Nautilus. The MKX only had a 6-speed, so this does get the fresh and updated transmission, which I seem to enjoy. Last but not least, this is all-wheel drive. So how does it feel to actually drive the Lincoln Nautilus? Well, it actually drives really, really well. I think it has enough power for what you're going to do with this vehicle. Is it going to win you any awards at Drag Week? No. But that's not what the Nautilus is about. So for an everyday application, I think the power is fine. Steering is a little heavy, but I also wouldn't categorize it as heavy steering. The throttle's good. The brakes are a little touchy, but definitely something you can get used to. But overall, I really, really like the driving feel of the Nautilus. It's decently quiet. It has some road feel, but not anything that's going to shatter my spine, so it gets green lights from me. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital dashboard. Off to the left is my tachometer, and off to the right is my speedometer. This mimics the same year Lincoln Navigator. It sort of shines a light where it's pointing, which is nice, and I get some configuration in that gauge cluster that I can mess around with, get some different info, and I really, really like that Lincoln allows you to do that. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my skip track and volume, as well as my cruise control options. And off to the right, I do have my selectors for the gauge cluster screen, as well as some audio, navigation, and setting buttons. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel is nice. I do have paddle shifters around the back if that's something that you would like to partake in. I particularly don't. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my headlight switches, gauge dimmer switch, trunk release, traction control, and my power parking brake. Moving on to the door, I have 3 different memory seat options, as well as lock and unlock, and then my power mirrors and power window options down below. Moving into the center, I do have a nice Lincoln speaker, as well as 2 climate control vents, and then off to the left, this is actually the shifter. It's a push button shifter, which is a throwback to the 50s, and is becoming more and more popular in modern cars. And I think it blends in well, it doesn't clutter the interior, and so it does its job. Off to the right, I do have the automatic start-stop on and off, and then I have the infotainment system. I can do my climate options through here, although I don't have to. And this is basically a dressed up version of what Ford is also doing currently. So it's not particularly very new, but I do think it has a very nice feel to it, and this is what the backup camera looks like in case you were curious. Then we have physical buttons down below, so I do get volume and tune as well as seek, and it does have a CD player, one of the last few cars to have CD players. And then we get my climate controls. I do get physical climate controls, which I absolutely love. Heated seats as well as dual zone and all of those goodies. And then off to the right also have my auto holding brake, and I have a button for my glove box. I don't know why luxury brands are trying to do away with glove box handles, but now Lincoln, Cadillac, and Volvo have all seemed to switch to buttons, as opposed to regular handles. Then I get a nice opening cubby. This is where you'll find one of your USB ports, and that's about it. And then we do have cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 2019 Lincoln Nautilus, and unfortunately, it doesn't pass. I didn't really expect it to. It got close, but at last, no cigar. Then we have a little center console and the seats. Like I said, the seats are heated, they are power, and they are memory, which is pretty much everything I can ask for from a vehicle at this price point and at this category. Now, you can go up to the Lincoln Nautilus Black Label, and that's going to be all your nice features if you want that. But speaking of the seats, we do have back seats. We have a couple interesting things to talk about with the back seats. So let's go do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2019 Lincoln Nautilus, and a couple of things to note. First of all, right off the bat, off to my right, your left, you'll see a baby seat. No, I do not have any announcements for the channel. Don't worry. This was actually the owner's car seat. The reason it's still in here is because this was actually the whole reason why they bought this Lincoln, was because it fit the car seat so well. They actually came from a Jeep Cherokee and didn't like the back seat all that much. So that's a real true testament to the size and space of this car. I'm not a parent, and so I don't have that experience and knowledge of putting car seats into a car. I've never had to do it. So it's cool and helpful to the video to see that sort of stuff. That's why they picked this car. A big reason. Of course, all the features, drivetrain, all that stuff has been nice, and they're big fans of Ford, but the ease of getting a newborn in and out of the car really sold them on this product, which I think is very, very interesting. However, for regular adults, there are some nice features like heated seats back here. Also, behind that little door, I do have 2 USB chargers and a 12-volt outlet, which is very nice to see. I do get a center console that opens with some pop-out cup holders that are kind of slow. And space for me, because I'm not a baby, is still good. Headroom, I'm coming a little close to the ceiling, but if I just slouch slightly, it's comfortable. Knees, I'm not hitting the seat in front of me. This is a very, very pleasurable backseat experience. I'm not crammed and mashed like I am in a lot of other cars. I love seeing that. Speaking of crammed and mashed in space, let's hop out back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Nautilus. Hit it twice on the key fob, and it is a power tailgate. This is really long, a lot longer than I would have expected. I also do have power options for the second row of seats and a 12-volt outlet. I mean, that's pretty nice. I can pull this up as well. That's the spare tire and things like that, but plenty of space in the back of the Nautilus. I really thought that this thing was smaller than it is, but it's actually quite large, and I like that. It has a small footprint, but large cargo space, and that is the sweet spot for SUVs. Hit it again twice here on the key fob, and the tailgate goes down just like that. Nice, quiet, and calm. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like this blue color. I think it's a really good color, and I overall like the redesign. I think it does still feel decently fresh, feels very Lincoln, and it's a handsome SUV. It's not really blowing me away. I wouldn't give it the Design of the Year award, but it doesn't make me revisit my lunch when looking at it, so that's a win in that category. But now, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Lincoln Nautilus? My first time driving the Nautilus, although I have driven MKXs in the past, which was the vehicle that came before this. Well, I have to say I actually am very happy with this car. I think the 2-liter turbo is adequate enough, but if it's not for you, then that 2.7 liter is waiting for you. I think it has great features for the trim level. The Select was like a mid-trim level, so I get the nice heated seats, I get the digital dashboard, I get all these nice additives, but I'm also not paying out the nose for it. But I honestly just wanted to drive this because I don't drive many Lincolns. Lincoln does not make any sedans anymore. What they used to be known for, iconically, were their sedans. Presidential limousines were Lincolns. Well, as of now, Lincoln no longer makes any sedan. And so we're left with these SUVs. And I'll be honest, Lincoln as a brand, since they've done that, have, well, kind of lost my interest. It's not often that I'm at a dinner party and I'll tell people, hey, have you seen the new Lincoln? Doesn't really happen. But I do think that there is a beauty in that. I think there's some upsides. For the same reason that you shouldn't date the popular kid at school. Lincoln is not the popular kid anymore. They used to be for decades, but now not so much. But it's a good thing not to date the popular kid, because the popular kid is never going to give you the time of day. The popular kid doesn't really need to grow up and mature, because they're the popular kid. They'll have a whole gaggle of people waiting to hang out with them, wanting to hear their thoughts and opinions, although those opinions are, more often than not, uncultured and uneducated. The popular kid gets comfortable too easily. And so now that the Lincoln isn't the popular kid, it forces innovation, it forces change and development. And so Lincoln went off and changed the name to Nautilus. They went back to using actual words in their models, just when I was getting comfortable with their MK nonsense. They're trying to switch it up. They're throwing things at the wall, trying to see what will stick. And that lights a fire under Lincoln. It gives them something to strive for. The Toyota Camry, all said and done, has seen very little development over the last 20 years. They've added a hybrid option, they've given and taken engines and transmissions, but at its core, it's still the same automobile, because it's up at the top. It doesn't need to change. Well, now that Lincoln is no longer the end-all be-all, they have to change. And I'm excited to see where Lincoln goes, not only in the next couple of years, but in the next couple of decades. This car is practical, it's economical, it's luxurious, and it's good. This car is very, very good. Let the fact that Lincoln isn't the popular kid anymore, let that fact work to your benefit. You can get these for great money. I guess sometimes it pays to sit at the front of the class. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ted for letting me take out his Lincoln Nautilus. This car was so awesome to take out, and I cannot thank Ted and his family enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.